Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Teedra Moses, and right now I am hanging with Gallo, the guy you know, darling.
What's up? It's Nick Gallo, the guy you know. I'm here with the beautiful and talented someone I've loved since day one, Teedra Moses. How are you?
I'm very good.
Yes, you've been working these past couple months touring, like not couple months, a couple months, yeah, because give or take, yeah. It's today. I feel like it's a long time, you know.
Yeah, I was down for 2 years, 3 years, however long. When the pandemic started, I had just come out of touring.
Mhm.
So my last show before the pandemic really started was March 13th. So it's pretty much when it all shut down. So I was able to finish that off. And then I used to just run around doing shows so much. When the pandemic came and I was able to sit still, I really liked it a
Yeah.
lot. And then I started to think, after a while, people would say, "Are you going to do online shows?" I don't really like doing shows without audiences. I like to feel the audience, but I'm not mad at people that do it and do it
Yeah.
well. I'm driven by the audience. So then, I start to miss the audience. So then I'm like, okay, let's get back out there.
Yeah.
And there's new music coming, so you have to prep people for that. So
Exactly. Yeah, I want to ask you, like, you've been NYC, Philly, DC, Atlanta. I know you were just in Miami last night, Chicago tonight. How does it just feel being back in the major hubs of, the US? Because I feel like, hitting the main, you know, that's what I feel. That's where every artist wants to hit those type of places. Which place do you always just know you get the love from the most?
there are so many cities that I love that I get all of them I love, but the ones
Mhm.
that I get the most from, there's a multitude of them. But in this, since I've been back on the road since the pandemic, New York hands down. New York, like, they're gonna sell it out. They're gonna give me the energy. They're gonna, like, New York has this vibe with them where they get me and I get them. Sometimes these certain cities, they want to sit and be demure and quiet because my music is so peaceful and
Mhm.
sweet and all that, but maybe they're not listening to the words because the words
Yeah.
are very sophisticated.
Mhm.
And so, New York gets in with me. Like, they go in, the girls, the guys, everything. But I love everyone. But in this run that we've done so far, New York is the MVP.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I love that.
Philly's a really strong second.
Okay.
Atlanta was great too, but yeah, New York.
New York. Okay. um, it's so crazy to think about. I remember when you just did it for the 15-year anniversary for Complex Simplicity, but next year is going to be 20 years, which, yeah, it's crazy to even believe it because I feel like it was yesterday. I feel like it was, yesterday, and literally you were out there already. How does it feel? How was it doing the 15-year anniversary and now coming up the 20th anniversary? Like, just the impact it has had on your fans, your supporters, the culture. Just, I mean, it was a moment in time.
The coolest thing is that my debut album gains fans. They gain fans daily. Like, it's not. I forget how old it is because people say, "Oh my God, I just heard your first album,"
Yeah.
or "I just heard your album," because some people don't know Cognac and Conversation. So
Uh-huh.
it's very weird. And now I'm starting to see artists that come up and tell me that, "Oh, you influenced me." Whereas, like, I never saw myself as some big influence on anyone because I was underground.
Mm-hmm.
But the artists that came after me, they were different than my era because they had streaming.
Yeah.
So they were able to listen to what they want rather than rely on the radio or magazines to promote to them, or you know what I mean. So they were able to find it through word of mouth, where in my era we weren't. It had to be available to us in retail or whatever. So it's really cool to see this influence that I didn't know the music had, and watch it kind of grow. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, how was that time coming out though in 2000? What was it, 2003, 2004? Being, I remember it was the whole roster was, Little John the East Side Boys, Yin Yang Twins, Pitbull, Jackie O, yourself. I think it was O Solo as well. Like, what was that, just being a part of that roster? Because it was a movement. It wasn't. And I remember having all of your CDs, and I liked each of you for different reasons. Like you brought the R&B, you know, like everyone had and knew what their place was at that time. And like you said, you had to get out there and go to the radio stations, do the promo shows. Like we don't get that today. Like I remember the, you know, the 8x10 black promo photos you would get to the radio stations and sign, and they would hang them up. Yeah, right. Like what's one of your favorite memories just from the beginning?
um Shout out to my radio rep. His name was Chico, and he would tell me when we would go out. You know, I'm a person, I can talk, I can speak really well to people, and I can have great conversations with people. But he would tell me, sing. You have a really beautiful voice, and there's so many that can't sing. They can only rely on the record, you know. So when you go in, make sure you sing, and that'll always touch the people. And I wasn't that much of a performer back then. When I started, I hadn't really done any shows, so I wasn't much of a performer back then. And I realized over time, like, that was probably the best advice I got, was to use what I'm good at. You know, you actually have a unique voice singing. I never thought my voice was anything unique or special. I like to write more. I thought my writing was good. And so when he told me that, it clicked. And so every time I utilize that, it worked. And so, like, that's my thing. I know if I can just sing, if people could just hear my voice, I can possibly win them over, you know.
And that's awesome you say that, because it's such a point to prove, because so many people today from social media, you don't hear them in person sing until, and then it's a difference from.
And if you do hear them in person singing, they probably have auto tune on their mic, because you can do that now. Because I'll listen sometimes like, oh my God, this person sounds amazing. And they're jumping all around, and I can't even hear their breath. And then all of a sudden they hit a bad note and it jiggles. They have auto tune in their voice, which is cool. I mean, that's whatever, but I like to hear raw singing.
Yeah. And there's nothing, like you said, singing on the spot. Like people don't do that. Or people say like, oh, I'm not ready, or I need to warm up.
Yeah. You can either sing or you can't, baby.
Exactly. Agreed. I couldn't agree more with you.
Right.
Another thing I always pops into my mind when I'm watching it, and I always makes me think of you. You know, having You'll Never Find on the Beauty Shop soundtrack in the movie, and still to this day, when I watch the movie and it's on like random times, I'll hear that, and it just reminds me of like that. How was that, having that? Because that was, I think, the year of or a year after your album dropped. How was that? Yeah, it was around.
It was pretty cool. You know, TVT had a music supervision department, and so they definitely were good at getting music placed, and that was the beginning of me getting music placed in film. And then from there, it kind of grew, and I own my own publishing, so that's a really good way to. That was the beginning of me getting that kind of money, which was really cool, because films pay more. Yeah.
It's the longevity, like, I love it, because still to this day I'll watch it, like if someone's over or with a friend, and I'll be like, you know what that is, like, oh yeah, I was like, yeah, see, you know, they forget. Yeah, it's like people don't realize, and I guess soundtracks aren't as big of. I miss them so much, because now you maybe have like one song, but at that time you had like maybe 5 to almost 12 tracks that you would know from a soundtrack, and it was made for a soundtrack, you know. So you don't have that today. It's like it's weird.
It is. I love soundtracks. One of my favorites was back in the days was Poetic Justice. No, not Poetic Justice. It was Nia Long, and it's one of the best love movies. No, not Soul Moves. Nia Long and Lorenz Tate.
Love Jones?
Love Jones. That was such a really eclectic, good soundtrack. One of my favorites.
Yes. When you said Neil, yep. That. One thing I noticed, and I'll say the 4 C's. You had 4 projects that all began in the letter C. You had Complex Simplicity, California Vibes, Clairvoyant, and then Cognac and Conversation. Out of the 4, which one would you say you're most proud of, and which one was the toughest to create?
People will expect me to say Cognac and Conversation. I mean, not Cognac and Conversation. They would probably expect me to say Complex Simplicity, but the mixtape Clairvoyant is probably something like, I don't listen to Complex Simplicity. That's a whole nother lifetime for me. But I think Clairvoyant was a particular time in my life where I was kind of like foreseeing where I was going and where it was going to be. And I was kind of like foreseeing who I was going to be and what I was becoming. And that's why I named the album Clairvoyant. And I think that's probably why I like it so much, because if it wasn't for that time in my life, I wouldn't be where I am now, extremely happy and, doing well. I think the hardest to make was probably Cognac and Conversation, because I'm coming after an album that people love so much, and I'm guilty of it too. You hear someone's album that you love so much, you don't give the next one a try because you want to do the same thing over and over and over. I could never do that. I listen back to Cognac and Conversation. I love it so much, but it was such a long stretch of time of me just picking songs. Some started out as to go on my second album when I was with the label. Some just like, I used to move around doing shows, and I would go in every city. I would go meet producers and do songs and, all these things. So I had these collections of songs. So I had to pull from my catalog to literally make up Cognac and Conversation. And so it was a little bit harder because it wasn't like a process of like making the album. It was really putting the album together from all this music I made already. And my mood at the time was very much so light and flirty, and it was just like kind of tough to make an album, mixing it properly. Making albums are hard. Mixtapes are extremely easy.
Yeah.
They don't have to be perfect, Albums are hard.
Yeah.
And it's just hard because you have to make it sonically sound so good, and that's not in my hands. I'm not a mix engineer,
Okay. That makes complete sense, because it's, people don't understand that today too, because I feel like no one makes LPs anymore. Yeah. It's a different world, today. But what's one thing you missed most about how the music industry was before, and what's one thing that you love now that we have?
I think what I miss about before is quality control. I think that there's been bad music in every era of music that I've lived in, right? But I think that there was a level of quality control because it costs so much more to make money back in the days, that everyone couldn't just jump up and do it, right? So you had to like kind of be more specific in making something good, or at least trying to make something good, because you're spending so much money to do it, right? Whereas I kind of love that now anyone can make music. At the same time, I love that anyone can make music, because it could be someone with raw talent that just gets their hands on the right equipment that is a little bit more user friendly or whatever, that can really make great music. I love that. I love that we have streaming now, even though I get paid less money. If there was no streaming when, at the time it was Pandora for me, if it wasn't those things, no one would know who I am, And I also love that the whole thing has flipped over to indie. We are really what's popping. Like, and when I say we, I say that firmly, because I know I was at the beginning of like artists that really have to hustle hard to be indie, because it wasn't a big deal. You was treated like a stepchild when I first came out. It was frowned upon, and they treated you really bad, and like you were like the foster child. But now indie is like up, and I see people that are indie traveling. Like, you don't hear them on the radio, you don't see them on the TV, but you go to a show anywhere in the world and they have thousands of fans there, So I love that. That's what I love to see. I am not big on the machine. I rage against it. And so the fact that the machine is still trying to hold on to the power, but they're losing it, it makes me feel so good.
Well, it's so funny you said it, because it's so funny seeing the machine trying to partner with like indie, like it's like 50-50, or they're trying.
Mindy artists. Yeah. And that's cool. I think people should do whatever they need to do to get where they want to go, because I always ask young artists when they say, oh, well, can you give me any advice? I said, well, first, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I wanted to make money. I was never big on being famous. I wanted to make money to take care of my kids at that time, and I wanted to do something I love. I didn't want to work at the post office. No disrespect to the post office, but I probably would have blew my brains out, because I got all this energy to create, So that's what I chose to do. And I feel like, basically indie now is like, it's where everything that is dope is bubbling. There's no one trying to tell them, do this, do that, sound like this. They're just free to do what they want. And I think it's amazing.
Yeah. And I still want to know too, like, because every songwriter is different. Has there been a change in your songwriting from how you used to do things to now? Because I know some songwriters will, start with lyrics or, have a beat or come up with the music first. Is there a certain method you have for yourself?
I've always written to tracks. Like I've always written to tracks, but and with this album, I pretty much wrote to tracks. I don't think I started anything from scratch. I might have, but because I would do like I hear the music in my head and I start writing the melodies. But I don't really develop those songs because I don't play anything, right? Okay. So I'll just keep them. But what I want to start doing, because I'm done with this, making this album, about to start the next one, or just songs. I don't even know if it's an album that's coming. It's just I'm starting to create new songs, and I want to just start with a guitar. And I have a great guitar player by the name of Sherrod. He's actually from Chicago, but he lives in Atlanta now. And I was just been talking to him about us just getting together and like locking in for like weeks, and just he's playing and I'm singing, and we come up with stuff and then build it from there. That's something I'm really interested in doing now. But originally I wrote to tracks.
Okay. I like that. Reality TV has become such a blessing to some people and a curse to others. It's amplified some artists, like, for example, Cardi B. Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever wanted to dabble in it a little or see where it would take you? Or are you just the type of artist where you're like, no, that's my personal? Because I know it's a lot to have cameras in your, like getting to know your family, getting to know, seeing your, flaws. Have you ever thought about it?
No, I don't. I mean, like I don't feel any bad way about anybody that does it. I think you should do what you want to do. I'm wild, like I curse a lot. I smoke. I drink. I talk a lot of crap. Like I'm a very classy woman, but my lifestyle is one that people probably would judge a lot. And I don't care enough about what people think to put them in my business. Mm-hmm. So if I don't care what you think, I should probably not put you in my business. Because once I put you in my business, then I give you right to have thoughts on my business. So I'm not really interested in that. And I never want to do anything that takes away from, man, I could sing. Yeah. And I can write songs and I can perform and, I can do that. And I don't ever want to put highlight on, because if I was to be on a show, people would probably like how crazy I am. You know what I mean? But then I might end up slapping somebody because I have a temper, but I'm too little, so I probably get beat up. So it's just, I don't think I should do that. I don't think I should do that.
I respect it. But at least yeah.
I know. Now, a docu-series on like what I do, like my hustle, I think is one that's kind of different. I always have called it the Luxurious Underground. I even made a CD compilation tape about it.
3 parts. Yep.
Yeah, because I don't think people understand the grind. I don't think they understand. So I would love to show that, like not like drama, just like a docu thing, like how you're in here with cameras or whatever. But we just rolling around and people seeing how we hustle, and what it really what the grind really is. I wouldn't be opposed to that because that's in turn about the music. Mm-hmm. But laid up with a boyfriend or something like that's not something I want you to see.
Yeah, I give a lot of people credit because, like I said, it could help you, but it could.
And you could this is my thing. You could get stuck in that, and now people aren't taking you serious in this other thing, So I wouldn't be, but I think it's cool for people that have been successful in it. Yeah.
Definitely. But I want to do a little, rapid fire, just some fun, just so you're not the typical same stuff you have to answer all over and over. What was your first concert?
Ooh, child, I'm old. I can't remember my first. I can't even remember what my first concert was.
Or first concert you remember?
I think the first one I remember was SWV. I guess so. We can release like that time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember I went to the Palladium when it was still the Palladium in Los Angeles, Hollywood. Yeah. SWV.
It's a good venue and a good group to see.
It was. I walked out of there thinking that Coco had to have the most amazing voice, and I literally studied her to sing. I studied her and Faith Evans. Like they taught me how to sing.
That's awesome.
I mean, not literally, but studying them. Yeah.
That's amazing. Last movie and or TV show you watched?
If I'm gonna be very honest, the last TV show I watched and then I'm currently watching, I just restarted True Blood. Yeah, it's so good. It's a little racist though now when I look back. It's got a lot.
For the time.
Yeah, for the time, because for the times now they wouldn't be able to get away with some of the things they did, but it was a good show and it was before its time. You know, it really was before its time. So that's one that I'm watching right now, and I just finished BMF because I love any type of like gangster movies, mob movies. I love all that.
I love that you said True Blood though. That's yeah, but I think that too. Well, I was like, oh, it's a little.
Yeah, but hey,
Yeah,
I'm not sensitive.
yeah, me neither. Like, but just with the times. But it was such a good show before its time.
The whole like, what was the wolves and the
Twilight.
vampire? That was before Twilight, so they kind of kicked it off.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was good. Anna Paquin and all.
Yeah.
Favorite alcoholic drink?
It varies. Okay. When I put out cognac in conversation, of course, it was cognac. Right now, I'm drinking tequila. I like a tequila reposado with a squeeze of lime, straight, no chaser, not on the rocks, just warm, and I sip them. I don't shoot them.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. What was your first job?
My first job, I worked in the mall at this place owned by this really cute Asian couple. It was called Moro's Nut House, and I used to steal all of their trail mix, but I didn't even eat nuts. Like my friends in high school, like, oh my God, you work at the nut house, bring us some nuts. So I would leave. I'm so sorry, y'all. I would leave every day with bags of nuts in my backpack to take to my friends the next day.
I love it. I love it. What do you like to do with your free time?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
It's just like a really friendly type of situation, child-friendly type of situation.
No, be you.
Be me?
Yeah.
I like to smoke weed and binge watch shows.
Okay.
I like to just sit on my couch and like, and I will just binge watch because I can take I'll take like about 2-3 days to binge watch a show. Uber Eats the whole time, so I don't have to get up and cook. So I can just do that, and then get back to work on the 4th day. Like I got enough of my binge watching. Okay. I love to chill and watch TV. Yeah.
I appreciate it now. Like I never thought later being an adult, I guess you like appreciate that. And now I'm like, it's my favorite.
And let me note that I've been like this pre-pandemic. It wasn't like because we shut down, I started watching. No, I was doing this before. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Something you do or love that would surprise people.
Something I do that people don't know about is why I wear acrylic all the time. I bite my nails. I have a really bad, habit of biting my nails. Like especially like when I'm in the studio or something, I'll eat all around my cuticles and stuff like that. I'm horrible at that. And it's a really nasty, horrible habit, but I've been doing it since I was 2 years old. And I would work to stop doing it, but
yeah,
I do it.
It's a comfort thing too, I feel.
It's a comfort thing.
I agree with you there. What animal would you be in another life?
I would always be a lion. I'm a lion now. I'm a lioness now. So I know in another life, I know I've been a lion in another life. And I was like the baddest bitch in the pride.
I love it. See, I'm so happy you said that because you know how many times I've asked it to other people and they're like thinking, I'm like, you don't know? I mean, I feel like most people know or have an idea. Yeah.
I know. I've always known lioness. And I'll tell you why I know. I used to smoke weed, sitting on my couch watching Animal Planet. Before was a thing to binge watch shows streaming, I would watch Animal Planet high as birds' balls, okay? And I would sit there watching the show and I would watch how the big lion, he just lays and swatting flies with his tail and all this stuff. And mama is out there getting the food.
Yep.
She's out there getting the food. And I saw myself in the lioness. I was the mother providing for the children. The dad was like, so I saw myself and I realized, okay, that's your position. Once I knew my position, I became the lioness.
I love that. I love that. Like you said, new music's coming. How long did it take, would you say? And do you have an idea of what kind of project you want to put out? Because like we were talking about, you could have an LP, you could have an EP, you could have a mixtape still. You could just have a single or two. I mean, it's so different now from where, you don't need full albums. What is your idea that you're thinking?
Well, it's going in so many different directions. Okay. This project is called The Bullshit, and it started out as an EP I was doing. And then it was like, nah, I need to do more because, and so I started to make it a full album. And then I said, no, because these aren't coming out mixed like the one. So I'm going to put it back down to EP and put out 3 of them. Then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to drag this out because I really want to start making new music. So I've been working on this for a while. And I genuinely work on music for a very long time because I don't throw anything away. Like I can have a record from like 7 years ago and I'll rework it and start from there. So I basically this project is going to be an album because I want to get that I want to get that what I have to say out. I want to get all that out. I don't want to prolong it. And then I'm going to start fresh after that. And I think from there on everything will be an EP, and I would like to do collaborations.
Okay.
Yeah, like with producers, with artists, like 5-song EPs and get them done. Okay. Yeah.
Is there anyone new collaborative wise that's new to the scene? Because there's so many, like you said, so many people make music now, and we know now more. Like I feel like back in the day, you didn't really know so much production wise or who the songwriters were as much. But now, like you look at like Hitmaker or there's so many people who they are and they're at the fort. Is there someone like you really want to make a little project with?
I love Kate Tronada, of course, and I think we have good chemistry.
Yeah, y'all killed it on that.
I've been working with Trackademics for years, but I really, really love Trackademics. I love there's so many as far as artists too as well. I love Baby Rose. I think she has a unique voice that I would love to put her texture and my texture together. I love Ari Lennox. I love Summer Walker. I love SZA. But collaborative wise, like I'm open to someone that everyone knows to someone that no one knows because I'm only here to make good art. That's all I'm really interested in doing is making the kind of, and not just good, baby, but timeless. I want your grandkids to be able to listen to my music and say, what is this, Grandpa? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I did with Billie Holiday. So that's what I'm really more interested in is making, like getting with, whether they're, like I said, someone unknown or someone really known and making something that is stamped in time. Like this was this time when we did this thing and it can live forever.
Dope. Well, Teedra, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know, like I said, you've been doing it, killing it. I can't wait to see the show tonight. I can't wait for the new music. Good luck on everything you do because I've never stopped watching your grind and your journey. So, good luck with everything and I appreciate it. And it's Nick Gallo, the guy here with the one and only Teedra Moses.